Page 171. And here we said that he drops what I consider to be a theological bombshell. And the bombshell says that monotheism, serving Hashem, means that you do it not because of your self-interest. By definition. It's not like some kind of, it's nice to have. It would be nice if people...
That's what it all means.
Yeah. He says, Yehudiya ovedet HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at the end of 171, ein ze kedei sheyashpia lo tzarachav. The reason that the Jew serves Hashem is not for Hashem to fulfill his needs, his whatever he needs to live. And mishum shu masur elav be'emet u'b'lev shalem. It's because of his true commitment to Hashem. Shelo al menat hagayil pras, and it's not in order to receive any kind of reward. Lochen ha'oved avodah zara le'avdi. It's amazing this is in parentheses. I can't even imagine why they would put this in parentheses.
It's not in parentheses, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Lochen ha'oved avodah zara, not so the one who worships a deity, some kind of idol, or whether he has an idol, doesn't have an idol. The definition of something that's not pure monotheism is shadavar balidido rak mishum mashpot shi mashpia, is that he serves it only because of what he gains from it. Only because
so you
of
want
the
to say
reward.
that he's got two gods.
Wait,
Yes,
so
you
this
got
is
it.
the difference between avodah zarah and pure
Right.
monotheism.
So avodah
Now
zarah
he's
has-
going to say what it means to have a partnership between Hashem, God, and some other force in the world.
Right, so avodah zarah means you got two gods.
Well, that's the God, right?
You got two gods if you have avodah zarah. One is Hashem, and the other is your
No,
own self-personal interest.
You could be avodah zarah, which means you have no connection to Hashem at all. You only serve these deities. You only serve these forces. Again, this would be like someone who comes and says, my life is dedicated only to making money. My God is money. There's no difference. My God is
But
politics.
he does say that he believes in Hashem.
No. Here we're talking about pure avodah zarah. In pure avodah zarah, there is no connection to Hashem. He doesn't say, and I don't go to church on Sundays, and I don't go to shul on Shabbos. I'm not interested in that. That's just not interesting to me. So what would we call an atheist? So an atheist, of course he serves something. There's no way you can't serve something because you don't get all your needs from your pupik. You don't come out from there, your food. So we saw this at the end of Jeremiah. There's a story that after the destruction of the temple, there was a leftover from Judah, who the Babylonians didn't exile. And the Babylonians had set up a puppet regime that was run by a man by Gedaliah ben Achikam ben Shaphan. He was a very important figure, Shaphan. Shaphan was actually the person who helped Yirmiyahu the most. And there was a group of people headed by Ishmael ben Netanyah. They decided that they were not going to be under a puppet regime, and they went and they killed him, they murdered him. But the prophecies had said that the point of exile is to be under a different nation, and not to be sovereign. And they fought against this. So they were going against the prophecies. So Jeremiah, he was also on their list, but he got away. And he collected a group of, or people that were left over collected around him, and they asked him, tell us what to do. And whatever Hashem tells you to do, we'll do. So it says it took him 10 days and he received an answer from Hashem. And the answer was to stay in the land of Israel and to live under the rule of the Babylonians. But they wanted to go to Egypt. So even though they said, we'll do exactly what you tell us, they decided they went down to Egypt. So the last few prophecies of Jeremiah are about the life of the Jews in Egypt.
Why did Jeremiah go?
He had to go with them. They forced him. He was an older guy. I think he wasn't that old. I think I told you last time he was in his 50s, maybe 55. So I don't feel like somebody could force me today, but maybe they could. I don't know.
Maybe there's no food, maybe there's no water.
No, there was. You could. Anyway, so one of the things that he told them was that the reason this is happening to you is because you still serve these false gods. Meaning, you asked me to say what Hashem wants, I told you, and then you backtracked on it. So this is, where does this come from? It comes from the fact that you're unable to stop serving these false gods. And they tell him that the reason we serve these false gods is because they provide for our sustenance. So here it is. This is why they served the Baal. These false gods, they were a way of receiving what they wanted. And this is the way that almost all the instances of false gods in Israel, in the people of Israel, during the First Temple period, are described as this need to fulfill their needs. למרות שעבודה זרה באופן כללי בגלל ההשפעות שמקבלים דרכה, יש אבל בדבר הזה עצמו שני סוגים, עבודה זרה ופתיחה על שתי הסעיפים. So there's two different things. Serving idols and partnering idols with God. These are two separate things. עבודה זרה היא כשאדם סבור באמת שעבודה זרה מניקה שפע. Idolatry is really, or anti-monotheism, is really when a person says, I truly believe that these forces are what are responsible for my well-being. למרות שהדבר בא משום פנייה עצמית, הרי הפנייה באה באמת, but even though it comes from self-interest, but it's true self-interest, I mean, you can't fake it. This is what he really feels. לפי שהוא סובר שעל ידי כך שיעבוד לקרבים אז לא ייתנו לו שפע, because he feels that if he serves these false idols, that's how he's going to get his sustenance. So it's from a sincere place. אבל פסיחה על שתי הסעיפים היא מספק. But partnering God with something else is because of a doubt. You're not wholehearted about either of them. So you have a doubt, which one is going to provide for me? יש כאלה שהם שרויים תמיד בספק. There are people always in doubt. ומזמן זמן גדול שהם ממש בעבודה זרה. And from time to time, they realize that there's nothing behind these idols. They don't provide for anything. That's one type of doubt. סוג אחר של פסיכה, שיתוף. אדם מאמין בקדוש ברוך הוא וגם להבדיל בעבודה זרה. So the type of doubt, it's just a person's personality. You can't decide. He says there's another type which is worse, which is really called partnering, which is that he serves God and he serves some external force, some separate force that he believes is giving him something. לאמיתו של דבר, הרי אפילו עבודה זרה בשיתוף או משום ספק, ואפילו בדיבור בלבד ובמעשה בלבד, ולא שום אמונה בלב הכלל, היא עבירה גדולה מאוד, עד שגם עליה מוסר איש ישראל נפשו כאמור בתניא. The truth is that even partnering in this way is such a great, even though it's not written that it's exactly the same thing as pure avodah zarah, as pure idolatry. In the Tanya it says that a Jew would sacrifice his life not to do this. לפי זה מובן שבפרטים רבים גרוע יותר העניין שפוסח על שתי הסעיפים מעבודה זרה. So we see that in many areas, partnering God with something else is much worse actually than idolatry. Why? So we'll skip to next column. Aleph. The first reason is מי שהאמין בעבודה זרה כשמתברר לו שהשם הוא אלוקים בחיית דתה יש לו בטעות מרה חשו בגודל החטא שביצע ולכן הוא שב בתשובה כהראוי ושב ורפא לו. A person who until now was a pure idolater, he only believed in separate forces, and then he realizes that they don't work. So when he retracts and he does tshuva, the tshuva is complete because he doesn't believe in them anymore. לעומתו, הפוסח על שתי הסעיפים, מאחר שהוא מאמין גם בקדוש ברוך הוא, רק מאוחר יותר לא חש כל כך בגודל החטא. But the person who's partnering these external or separate forces with God, so when he realizes that these external forces let him down, so he doesn't really do that much tshuva, because he says, but I always believed in God also. So he doesn't feel the gravity of his sin as much. הוא חושב, איזה חטא גדול עברתי? He says, what kind of a terrible sin have I committed? והרי מלכתחילה הייתי מסופק בדבר. From the beginning I was in doubt, whether it's God or not God. ואפילו מבחינה חיצונית, even externally, because it could be that he looks like a Jew. He looks like somebody who serves God. ולאמיתו של דבר, ראיני ככל בני ישראל, תמיד הייתי מאמין וכו' וכו'. And really, I'm just like everybody else. I'm like every other Jew. You can take the example today, unfortunately, of people that show up in court because they're mafiosos, and they decided that they're not that now they're from, and now they put their kippah on, and now they show up with tzitzis, and they want to show the judges that they're actually very big believers, which may actually be true, but what they really are people that partner Hashem with the terrible, terrible sins of killing and murdering and raping, whatever else. And so they believe in money just as much as they believe in God. And they will do everything to protect their monetary interests. So that's a person who believes in two gods. Bet, a second why shituf, why partnering is worse than avodah zarah, than pure idolatry. המאמין בעבודה זרה מקולקל בתכלית, רוצה לומר, והוא טועה, רחמנא ליצלן, והוא טועה וסובר שהבעל הוא חס וחלילה אלוקים. רם ייתכן שאם כן הוא מנותק מאלוקים באמת, הרי כלל עניין הרוחניות נגע בו. It says, even though a person who serves an idol is completely wrong, but he still has a sense of spirituality. He feels that there are spiritual forces that govern the world. So he has a sense of spirituality. He's not like an atheist. לעומתו, בפוסח על שתי הסעיפים בשיתוף, מוכיח הדבר השחיתות, atheist is the wrong word, he's not a materialist. לעומתו, בפוסח על שתי הסעיפים בשיתוף, מוכיח הדבר השחיתות כזו, שלא זו בלבד שאינו רוצה להשתייך לאלוקים אל אמת, אלא אף אין לו כל קשר בכלל לעניין הרוחניות. והוכחה לכך היא שתוך כדי ידיעה שהשם הוא האלוקים, מוכן הוא להמיר חס וחלילה את הקדוש ברוך הוא בגשמיות, להחליק מקור מים חיים כדי לחצות בורות נשברים. He says, the person who's partnering does not have a sense of spirituality. How do I know that he doesn't have a sense of spirituality? Because he's looking for his needs. So he's saying, even though there is spirituality in the world, right now, because I need my gold, because I need my money, because I need my whatever it is, I'm willing to forsake my connection to God. Again, it's like this mafia guy. Now I don't care at the moment there's a Hashem who told me, do not murder, do not kill, don't steal, don't do all these things. And I do them anyway. Why? Because I believe that money is just as strong a God. So what is money? Money is materialism. So that means that in the end I'm forsaking. I don't have a real sense of spirituality even regarding God. Because the person who serves the Baal will never go against what the Baal priests tell him he's supposed to do. But this guy, he just jumps from one to the other. When it's comfortable for him, he goes to shul. When it's not comfortable for him, then he can kill and murder. He can do anything he wants. So in that sense, it's worse. Kol ha'amur, so we need to skip to finish. ט"ו. כל האמור הוא ביחס לאדם עצמו. אך יש פרט נוסף שבו גרוע פוסר שתי הספים מן העובד עבודה זרה והוא ההשפעה על הזולת. Says all this is regarding the person himself, his state, the idolater, the partner, the one who partners God with something else. But there's something worse, how we affect other people. מן העובד עבודה זרה לא ילמד אף יהודי. From an idolater, one who doesn't serve God at all, he only serves money, whatever, no Jew is going to look at him as a Jew. He's not going to learn from him. He's not going to say, oh, this is an okay way for a Jew to be. Okay? A guy who's only on Wall Street, doesn't care about anything Jewish. There's no Jewish connections. Nothing at all. Nobody's going to come and look at him and say, oh, he's such a model Jew. And if they do, they're nuts. Okay? Something's wrong with him. Yeah, you can say he's a Jew. I can't learn anything from him. There's nothing I can learn from him. לעומתו, פוסח על שתי הסעיפים, כיוון שהוא מאמין, הוא בכלל המחטיא את הרבים, והמחטיא את הרבים כשם כולם. But the person who's partnering God with something else, with Wall Street, let's say. So what is he doing? He's setting an example for other people. Because in general they see him in shul. They see he may actually support a lot of Jewish causes, whatever. And so this person, what is he doing? He's leading other people astray because they'll look at him and say, oh, it's okay to be a Jew and to do these things. Okay? The Chilul Hashem that Bernie Madoff did, not just in front of the non-Jews, not even for Jews.
It wasn't true.
Doesn't matter. But he's recognized as a Jew. And he gave money to Jewish. So what do you do with this guy? He's a posach al shtei asifim. He's not entirely in Wall Street. Because he said it. He says outwardly, I'm a Jew and I give to Jewish causes and I do this and I do that. Okay, he doesn't overdo it because he has all his friends that are not Jewish. But in principle, in the end, everybody knows that he's Jewish. So I don't know exactly to what extent he identified as a Jew before everything happened. There's plenty of examples like this. The people that are known to be even from people that turn out to have been worshipping something else as well. Yeah, I hate to say this, but the shaliach in Pomona, what's it called? In Poway, in San Diego, who was just put in jail. Was going to jail. Yeah. For tax evasion, tax fraud, whatever. Who are you serving? Who are you serving? So he said himself, thankfully, he said this, I don't know how much this is going to help him. How much is it going to help the people who saw him? He said that he regrets not having, that all his life he's preached that you have to not worship the Baal. The Baal means today money, and yet that's exactly what he did. So he, in his I don't know what you call it, his response after the before the not his final statement before the judgment was passed. So he said these things. He didn't get a lot. He got 2 years or something like that. But he says, in the end, who did I serve? I served both. He's not much the example of this. And how many people learn from that it's okay for a Jew to do these things. You know, the first thing that the Satmar Rebbe said to everyone who lives here in Eretz Yisrael, it goes without saying in America, I'm saying here, where they hate the state and they don't want to follow any of the state's laws. He said the one thing you can't do is not follow the laws. Say whatever you want about the state. Do whatever you want. If there's anybody who will ever be caught on anything in tax evasion or trying to swindle the authorities, he's not my chassid anymore. And Satmar is as clean as a whistle because nobody wants to be thrown out of the Chassidus. And the same thing in America. I've never heard of somebody in Satmar. Maybe there have been things, but there could also be misunderstandings with the IRS. You can't always, especially in America where everything is going between the drops. Okay. So this is worse, he says. יש כאלה שמשום בניות וגשמיות של פרנסה, כבוד המדומה ומים רבויות מבטרים הם לפי שעה כמה וכמה עניינים של תורה ומצוות. There are people who, because of their self-interest, because of the need for livelihood, because of their false sense of respect that they receive from others, and the feeling that what will people say about me if I'm not like this or like that, they for a time give up certain principles of Torah, certain things that they're supposed to do. למספר ימים ולמספר שבועות מעמידים את השולחן ערוך יחד עם הקדוש ברוך הוא כבכל על המדף. For a few days or for a few weeks, they put the books aside and say they're on the shelf, vacation. And I'm on vacation from Hashem. כדי שלא יאמרו על אדם זה שהוא בטלן. So that people don't say, oh, he's a schlepper, he doesn't do anything. Right? Because people say, oh, he's supposed to live in a bigger house, how come he's not ובעיקר שבאמריקה יש לוותר על הדברים הישנים ויש להתנהג קצת לפי רוח הזמן. Especially in America, he says, where you have to be updated, you have to be modern. So you can put things aside. משום כך, כדי שלא יאמרו עליו שהוא בטלן, כדי שיהיה לו כבוד מדובר, כסף נוסף. So for this extra money, and now he says, שלאמיתו של דבר מתבזבז הסכום לרופאים. All this extra money that he thinks he made by worshipping the Baal of money, it's all going to go on doctors anyway. שכן מאחר שהכסף בא שלא בהתאם לרצונו של הקדוש ברוך הוא, because the money didn't come in the appropriate way that God told us to do things, יוצאו לעניינים בלתי רצויים. So in the end it will be expended on the things you don't want to spend. שהרי חסר יברך השם וישמרך מן הנזקים, because he's missing the Birkos Kohanim, that Hashem will protect you and bless you, protect you from the negative forces that can affect you. מוכן הוא לפחות לפי שעה למכור כבכל את הקדוש ברוך הוא נשמתו. So he's willing for a time to sell himself and God. יש אבל לדעת שבתים רבים גרוע הדבר מעבודה זרה מן הטעמים הנזכרים. So, as we said, in some ways, partnering is worse than avodah zarah itself. How? קשה לו לחזור בתשובה באמת. It's hard for him to do tshuva really because he never thinks that he really did anything so terrible. הוא מושחת. Why he is blemished? I don't know what they used in Yiddish. Mushchat is like he's blemished through and through. Why? Because he doesn't believe in anything spiritual really. If you can put the spiritual aside for whatever amount of time, that means you don't believe in it. And third, and he causes other people to sin. כלפי כך ישנה הוראה בהפטרת השבוע שהקריאה העיקרית היא עד מתי אתם פוסחים על שתי הסעיפים, תופעה זו גרורה מעבודה זרה. That's why, for these three reasons, it's harder for him to do tshuva. He is blemished through and through and is not really spiritual. And third, he affects other people negatively. For these three reasons, Eliyahu says, until when will you partner between God and the Baal? Decide, is it God or is it the Baal? Instead of saying, stop serving the Baal, which would just be a statement against idolatry. So he says specifically against the partnership, because the partnering between God and the Baal is much worse than just avodah zarah. ייתן הקדוש ברוך הוא, at the end, שיהיה הדבר בחסד ורחמים, והחטאים יחד עם אלו שנגרו אחריהם, יחזרו בתשובה בקבלם לתושם, ואמרו כולם יחד, השם הוא אלוקים, השם הוא אלוקים. So it should be that in the end, everybody should do tshuva and say only God is God, only Havaya is God, only Hashem is God, nothing else is God, I don't serve anything else. And we should all have the strength not to serve anything else except for Hashem. We didn't get to Vayakel. Vayakel is amazing. I don't know what we'll finish tomorrow. But if
Maybe we're going to start tomorrow.
we have to start because it's an amazing, amazing sikha. It's beautiful. It
700.
shows the complexity of these sikhas, the Vayakel. Was waiting all week to start it. Okay, so we're done.